I can't control this, or I can control, take an action step and lead to an action step, or there's nothing I can do except maybe get some support. So I'm gonna get some support, but that process helps me rise up to safe and connected again.
Sure.
So it's like, instead of shaming them, teach them what's going on, how to identify it, and how to deal with it, instead of just pushing it down. And that's what we do as parents accidentally. We keep pushing it down because we're afraid of their emotions, because it kind of mirrors some of our emotions.
Sure.
And we think we're messing up and passing it down to them, even though we'll probably never say it. We don't play enough as a society. We're too busy, we're too serious, and then we're like zombified by screens. It's just so easy to turn on the TV or flip on a screen. And so we're missing out on like the thing that this nation, more than any other nation in the world, is starving for, is connection. And so a lot of the problems that we're seeing, root causes of poor behavior in kids, is what? A lack of connection. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with my amazing co-host, Coach Mia.
Hello, Seth.
And if you just tuned in, I want to say thank you and remind you that you can listen to this show anywhere podcasts are streamed. You can also watch us if you're a visual learner like I am. I love me some YouTube, so go to YouTube, and it's the handle is 5-Star Life, at the 5-Star Life. You can also go to yourhometv.com, and all those places have archived shows. You don't miss a beat. And if you've been listening for some time, I want to encourage you, like, you can help us out by just hitting the subscribe button. That helps the algorithms work in our favor. It's like making a donation to us and spreading the word about 5-Star Life. So, and if you're brand new, I want to say welcome. We're on a mission to truly like transform students' lives by challenging the way they think, the way they act, and the way they lead, while equipping them with the academic, athletic, social, and employability skills they need to thrive. And that's a lot. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more about what that means. And keep tuning into this show, because the whole purpose of this show is to highlight the things that we're doing to transform kids' lives. Everybody cares about kids. Everybody cares about education. It doesn't mean you're a teacher or a parent, but everybody has a vested interest in the next generation. And this is a place where you're going to hear stories, interviews, and people that are in that space. And then you're also going to get some encouragement, some support, and you're going to be challenged a little bit, because like today, we're going to unpack some of what we're teaching kids. We're in studio right now, filming video curriculum. It's one of our programs where schools adopt our curriculum. We train their educators, then they implement our content in their classrooms. And we're in lesson 4 of a 28 lesson series teaching kids how to rise, which just means to move upward, to grow, to get better, to improve. And we want to help kids not just survive. So many people, Mia, just want kids to just stay mediocre. Just like, don't challenge them too much. Don't push them too much. They're fragile. We have to be careful. And we believe that there's so much research that says when you push kids and you help them through adversity, kids are going through adversity. Let's help them through it and help them rise and get their vision, their mind beyond just making it, to actually living a 5-star life. And of course, we extend that challenge to our listening audience.
Absolutely. When you say push, I think of like your favorite coach that really had impact in your life. You know, they weren't the screamers. They weren't the, like that kind of coach, but they were the coach that led you to a better conclusion, like the right conclusion, or, to be stronger, better in a great way. And that's kind of how I feel our curriculum is.
100%. And that's what teachers say about it. That's what principals and superintendents and students themselves and parents. It was so fun. Last night we had our LIFT awards night. And LIFT, for those who are new listeners, it's a diversion program. What's a diversion program? So think about kids that get in trouble with the law, and it's a first or second offense, and the system would slap their hands and send them home and just knock on wood and hope they wouldn't continue to, digress and end up in a serious situation. So we started this program where they and a parent is referred to this program for 6 weeks, and we just finished another 6-week cohort. And it was fun talking to, there's a group of parents, a set of parents that it was like their second time through the program. They didn't complete the first time because they came once and then bailed. Mm-hmm. And I asked them, like, what made you guys stick this time? So, well, the first time we'd been through so many programs, through so many different therapists and things, and nothing was working. So when we were told we needed to do this because, our child got in trouble, we had a messed up, their words, our mindset was broke.
Sure.
We came in with no hope, just thinking this is another waste of time, another thing that we're going to be forced to do that won't work. So that was the mindset we had. So this time, we came into it with an open mind, and so did our girls. And our mindsets have shifted. Our girls have too. And like the whole space, like this family has rebuilt their social circle. They've set boundaries. They're learning how to interact with their kids better. They're making some big moves in their life that are going to change the whole trajectory of their kids' lives. So
Abby was sharing, sorry, I didn't mean to speak over you, a little bit at lunch about that, because she was sharing about the awards. But then she was walking us through, and about like the first time that parents come, and how she said they come with really a stinky attitude, most of them. And she's like, it's really hard, but she's like, but man, that changes quickly once they know that we're here for the right reasons.
Yeah, and rightly so. Think about this. You're overwhelmed. You're struggling. And by the way, as a parent, every parent listening, it's like you got financial pressure. You got who knows, health issues. You got work issues. You have some issues. And now on top of that, your child is struggling and you're watching them flounder. And now they're in trouble. Now they're in trouble with the law. Like you're losing. And that's a lot of pressure. So, I hear people, there's parent bashers out there. So I hear parent bashers in politics. I hear parent bashers in education, in religious settings, people that just bash parents. Anytime a kid, there's bad news in the news, we bash parents. And I really want to encourage people not to do that. This is Coach Seth challenging you. We need to come up a little higher. And the only reason you'd bash a parent is if you've never walked a mile in their shoes. And here's what I've noticed. Parents who have had cycles and generations of great influence, of stability, of solid mental health, their kids often grow up with that foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard for those people to understand people that have never had that foundation. So they think, well, it's not that hard. Well, it's not that hard for you because it's like breathing for you, right? But if you've never breathed before, or if you're breathing wrong, if you don't know how to breathe, guess what? You have to learn how to do that. And so anyways, there's so much to be learned from these families and so much to be admired about the battles they face. And instead of poo-pooing on them, I want to encourage us to rally around people, because these are the people that you run into at the grocery store, at church all the time, and you don't even know the pain or the weight they're carrying and the pain they're going through. And there's a lot of people out there that are like, well, they've made their bed, whatever. They're making poor financial decisions. They're making poor relational decisions. They're making, they have addictions. They've got to get, yes, and yes. But where does that all come from? It all comes from within. Unless you deal with the core issues, unless someone reaches out their hand and says, one, do you want to take it? Well, before they're going to take the hand, they need to have some trust. And so when they come to our program, we're reaching out our hand. They're like smacking it away. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't think so. But because we're very intentional how we design the program and how we lay it out and how we start that first night, by the end of night one, they're maybe not taking the hand, but they're like looking at the hand. And they're like, this feels different. And then it just goes from there.
Do you break into groups the first night?
Yeah, so
share?
we start together, some icebreakers, some connecting. Actually, this is the exact thing that this mom said. She's like, yeah, we came the first night, and I'm like, how is playing this silly game going to help my family? Because we start with just simple stuff to bring connection and a lightness and a fun, because you can't go deep right away. You got to start with just some simple stuff, and it's literally like, you stand in the middle, and on that side, on the right side, if you could never have pizza again, or never have hamburgers again, which side are you going to be on? Hamburgers or pizza? Pick a side. Okay, jeans, never wear jeans again, never wear hoodies again. And we go through this super simple stuff where they're just, and it's easy for them to think, why are we doing it? How is this going to help my kid?
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is over the next 7 to 10 minutes that we do that, they start letting their guard down. And then there's some funny ones where like, how could you, what and the families are sort of like, what, hold on, you let go of pizza for a hamburger? And they start talking and they start connecting. And then they start talking, connecting with other parents and other kids. And it's this simple little transition that starts to let the guard down. We don't play enough in life.
Mm-mm. I was just thinking we were with our grandson and had that game that you put that plastic thing in your mouth and you have to try to talk. Jim usually doesn't play the games with the grandkids, but he happened to be there and we made him do it. And we laughed so hard. I mean, we were crying that he started laughing. And it's true. You know what? And I thought in Hudson, we still talk about it because it was hilarious, but we don't do it enough.
We don't play enough as a society. We're too busy. We're too serious. And then we're like zombified by screens. It's just so easy to turn on the TV or flip on a screen. And so we're missing out on like the thing that this nation, more than any other nation in the world, is starving for is connection. And so a lot of the problems that we're seeing, root causes of poor behavior in kids, is what? A lack of connection. There's a mom in the program that at the end of the program, she just said, this program has transformed my life and my son's life. I said, how so? She said, I thought this program was for him, and I found out it was for me. I am so busy with my own life, and I've slowly just put my energy on my work, what I need to do, and I'm expecting him to be an adult when I discovered in this program, all he wants is a mom who accepts him and loves him.
She's a single mom.
So, yeah. And she said, now I just did some tweaks. He's like a different kid just because I'm slowing down enough to look him in the eye and listen to him when he talks to me. And I'm learning some of the skills of truly not passive listening, but truly, sort of engaging listening, asking questions, being in the moment, not doing something while I'm on the go. Hey, come, we can talk when we're doing this. We can talk. I need to get this done. Just sitting down and letting them download, letting them share. Anyways, it's such a powerful program.
That is. It's a great lesson for parents.
Yeah. So anyways, we're in studio and we're getting to core root issues in our curriculum. And I think the lesson we're going to unpack today aligns with everything I mentioned today about these parents and these kids truly rising and thriving. And by the way, that program has a 95% success rate. So that means when kids are referred to the program, 95% of the time, they will not within a 2-year, it's an ongoing study for 4 years. 95% of the time, they're never going back to that lifestyle or to that pattern. Like they're on a track. And it turns out it's that old parable or quote, you can feed somebody a fish dinner, or you can teach them how to fish and they can feed themselves. When you help families, kids and parents understand the core mindsets and values that got them to where they are, and you teach them the new ones that will get them to where they really want to go, it's transformational. So it's good stuff.
Love it.
All right. We're going to take a quick commercial break. At the break, I want to encourage you, if you're not driving, go to one of our platforms and check it out. Hit the subscribe button, or just check us out online at 5starlife.org. That's 5starlife.org. Again, there you can donate, you can volunteer, you can get involved, or you can bring 5 Star Life to your school, your county. We'll be right back after this. The 5 Star Life Parent app. Each lesson includes a short video and simple discussion prompts designed to help families reconnect and start talking again. Because when parents lead the conversation, kids grow stronger. Download the 5 Star Life Parent app today and start your first family conversation this week, transforming kids' lives by challenging the way they think, act, and lead. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with my co-host, Coach Mia. And we're going to unpack a lesson that we're actually filming today for students and for our Lift families. Our theme is Rise. We're just challenging kids to really think about growing and moving upward, moving forward, and living a 5-star life. And in the first lesson of this series, we taught kids of something that's super important, and it's something that adults don't think about enough, but your brain can change. Like there's this old adage that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And that's true if you believe it. But according to neuroscience, like our brain has plasticity, and our brain, it can change. We can learn anything. So people who believe that I can't learn anymore, it's hard for me. Well, it may be hard for a minute, but you can teach that thing to kick into gear, and you have a supercomputer that once you learn how to use it again, you might have to reteach yourself. Mm-hmm. You can learn anything.
And some of it, I mean, the first step is just thinking differently too.
That's
like,
right.
I can't do this anymore. No, you know what? Not yet.
Yeah. So your brain can change. In the second lesson, we introduced the polyvagal ladder, which is just super fascinating. You have this vagus nerve that goes from your brain all the way down to your visceral organs. And that vagus nerve at the top of it is the place where literally it is a part of your nervous system. And this is not your thinking brain, it's your nervous system. It's where your feelings come from. It's your sensory. And 20% of that vagus nerve controls your organs, right? Digestive system, your breathing, regulates your heartbeat. But the other 80%, it's carrying information. It's picking up all the signals, all the emotions. And so at the top of it, it's where we're clear, where we feel safe and connected. And I want people to pause and think, like, how often do you feel safe and emotionally connected in your world? Safe and emotionally connected in your workspace, to the people you work with, to your family, wherever you are. How often do you live there? Because that is thriving. That's the thriving area. Because in that space, you think anything's possible. That's where you can dream and be creative. That's where you have free space because you're not in this threatened mode, which at the bottom of the vagus nerve in your stomach, it's a physical place in your body. That's where we go to isolate. That's where we go to shut down. That's where things like depression live. And there's symptoms that follow that, like stomach aches, cramps, like that. That's where all that stuff takes place. And then in the middle, and this is not a part of the vagus nerve, but it's actually in your spinal cord, is the sympathetic nervous system. And there's this little spot between your shoulder blades in your spine where this lives in the spine. And it's ultimately that fight or flight response where we are activated, where we're on edge. And I think that a majority of people are camped out in fight or flight, constantly anxious, constantly worrying, and just in a state of stress. And which we know, like research says, stress is like the leading cause of cancer. It's the leading cause of most ailments, sicknesses, and diseases. So it's a bad place to live. But the sweet spot, they say, is to live right on the edge of the safe and connected and the fight or flight, right in the line. Because if all you do is feel safe and connected, you won't have any pressure to move and act and go to work and do excellent work. But if you're just afraid and think you're going to fail, you won't do your best work. So you got to have enough there's that healthy, it's called eustress, right? Mm-hmm. Healthy anxiety that keeps you going, like, hey, I'm going to change the world, but if I don't get to it today, I'm going to miss this, this, and this. So I got to get here now because I have the window of opportunity, but I have to go. Or if I don't correct my child, if I don't start disciplining my child, where could they end up? So I gotta learn some things. I gotta grow. So that polyvagal ladder, we all live on a spectrum of emotions every day. Probably we could go cycle through that ladder. And what we taught kids is it's so important to pay attention to where you are on the ladder. And by the way, most people grow up thinking that they live on the ladder and they're stuck on the ladder, and that there's something wrong with them if they have anger or if they feel low or if they feel whatever, that we shame kids for feelings. Mm-hmm. We shame them.
Why is it, I guess, accepted now to talk about this?
It's because people tend to believe and accept science and evidence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, because back in the day, feelings weren't real,
Right.
emotions weren't real, right? That old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, words can never help me or hurt me. And so you have all these emotions that people are just like, suck it up, suck it up, suck it up, which that's great advice in the right environment. But what we need to teach kids is to pause. And that was the last lesson, like pause, take stock. What are you feeling? Research says that if you can name in a word or two what you're feeling, that right there helps you rise. It helps bring things into focus. Oh, I'm feeling this. And if then you can teach kids that, okay, you're angry. Okay, you're sad. Why are you sad? Oh, because this happened. Okay. Well, there you go. Now, can you change that? Well, not really. Well, what can you do? I can't control this, or I can control, take an action step, but lead to an action step. Or there's nothing I can do except maybe get some support. So I'm going to get some support. But that process helps me rise up to safe and connected again.
Sure.
So it's like, instead of shaming them, teach them what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
how to identify it, and how to deal with it. Instead of just pushing it down. And that's what we do as parents accidentally. We keep pushing it down because we're afraid of their emotions, because it kind of mirrors some of our emotions.
Sure.
And we think we're messing up and passing it down to them, even though we'll probably never say it.
Well, and also, I think it makes sure you move on the ladder too, whatever their emotions are, either way, good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's again, it's physiology. We have mirror neurons that when our kid starts freaking out, those mirror neurons like, oh, I'm going to respond in like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And unless you are intentional at saying and being the adult in the room and saying, okay, they're melting down. And instead of trying to control the emotions, the behavior, we should be doing the same thing. Okay, can we identify and name what does it look like? Is it sadness? Is it anger? What is it? And start asking them questions to help them think about it. What is it? Take a deep breath. Just take a minute. Just calm down. Just breathe. Now, what do you feel? That's how we need to start helping our kids through this process.
Seems so simple.
But
when you're in it, it's hard.
It is hard. And this is the beauty of what we're teaching, is we're teaching kids that, you have the power to start to take a breath, to pause, to identify, and then you can choose a path. Like we taught them about their brain, how these neural pathways are formed. And we talked about kind of that, like if you're like on the way to school and you're in a hurry and you want to, save time, you can cut through this big field of tall grass and there's no path. Cutting a path the first time, it's going to be a little more tricky. But if you keep going back and forth for a week and then a month, you're going to have a wide path. That's the way our brains work too. So at first, it may be hard to learn to take a breath and regulate ourselves and take this parenting approach with our kids. But if you do it for a few days and a few days turns into a week, a few weeks, all of a sudden you've created a new neural pathway, a new normal. You have a new skill. You've skilled up. You've leveled up in your parenting. And all of a sudden your kid is responding to that. Because co-regulation is the most powerful way to help your kids rise. Your presence and the way you handle it is one of the most powerful components of the equation for them.
So are you also saying, though, like we have to go through these maybe outbursts or whatever before, as a parent, it becomes natural that we learn the pause, that we, help them regulate their emotions?
Yeah, well, we need to get rid of this idea of perfection, right? We've got to get rid of there's concepts you're working with. So it's going to look different every time. But if you can master the concepts little by learning it, it won't be, don't worry about perfection, but just learn to pause, learn to take a breath, learn to identify what you're feeling and what your next action is, climb up the ladder to safe and connected, then parent from a safe, connected place, not from a fearful or anxious place.
I think it's so powerful. Everything that we teach, I think, is so powerful, and it's so simple.
It is.
And it's because I thought about that when you were teaching last week on the pause, and I was like, man, that it's so simple, but we just don't do it because you want to get it over with. Like, I want this to stop now.
Yeah. And that pause is beautiful because it's there. We just don't utilize it.
Right. Yeah.
We go from action to
Mm.
reaction. And if we want to get to a place where we start responding, which that's where great parenting takes place. My best parenting is when I'm responding. My worst parenting is when I'm reacting.
Yeah.
And it was funny. What was it? I think it was Monday night. I was making dinner for my family, and my son's girlfriend was over, and we were talking about something. And somehow they just love. They look and they relish any moment to just make fun of me. And my one son was like, "Oh man, Dad, you got rage baited on Monday night by Blaze. So you're tripping or something." And they were talking about a time where I just reacted.
Oh, yeah.
Right, I reacted, and we laughed about it, right? And so we're gonna have those moments, right? And hopefully we can mature enough to laugh about them, and they'll make fun of you about those.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't learn and grow from them, if we can't apologize, and if they can't see us growing through it, guess what happens? There's a tension in the home at dinner because they can't feel comfortable making fun of you for that.
Right.
So you can take even the weaknesses, the weakest moments where you react, and those can become these moments of laughter and connection where it's like reinforcing the learning for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you.
That's why it's like it's not about perfection. It's about learning and mastering little by little. We get it. And letting our kids know we're figuring this out. We're growing together. It takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, the first lesson we taught was all about your brain can change. The second was the polyvagal ladder. And in the third lesson, we learned about the pause button. And today, in a moment, I'm going to break down something that it impacts every single thought, every behavior, and every action, every decision. And it's really the focus today is, what is your focus? So where your focus is, it grows. A way to say this is truly, where your focus goes, growth flows.
Mm.
Where your focus goes, growth flows. So this is a simple concept that we don't think about enough. And there are so many people that are focused on something that is taking them on a roller coaster ride on that polyvagal ladder. Think about this. When you wake up in the morning, you're sleeping, you're resting, you wake up, and out of nowhere, you don't even know why, but you're focused. If you focus on the work pressure, the project, the argument you had yesterday at work or with a kid, if you focus on that, that can set a tone of fight and flight, can set you on that ladder for the rest of the day, or it can take you all the way down to depression, right? Where you focus, and that right there, it creates these neural pathways of, this is how we wake up. This is how we go to work. This is how we feel when we come back from work. This is what we do here. And it creates these cycles, these neural, again, the pathway gets worn down. Wherever our focus goes, growth flows. Those neural pathways get strengthened. We find ourselves in these cycles. At 5-Star Life, we talk a lot about the right tools. See, the hammer is the courage to be the best person you can be. The chisel is the respect you give and the respect you earn. The level, that's the integrity that keeps you balanced in a world that's always shifting. And the saw represents responsibility. It is what separates you from harmful actions and experience. It's the sacrifice it takes to work hard and be your best. Tools, when they're all used together, things are built. There's progress, but where there are no tools, there can be no progress. We give these important tools to kids every single day, and we couldn't do it without our partners like Global Link Distribution. Global Link supports this mission so that these values, courage, respect, integrity, responsibility, and sacrifice become the tools these amazing young people use to become great. Global Link Distribution is a leader and supplier to the RV, manufactured housing, cabinet shop, cargo, and horse trailer industries, but they're also a proud sponsor of this program to help 5-Star Life students thrive. It is our turn to see to it that our children have the tools that build greatness. Volunteer or donate today at 5starlife.org. Welcome back to The 5-Star Life. Coach Seth here, your host with my co-host, Coach Mia. And we're having a fun time unpacking a lesson that's going to go to tens of thousands of kids, teaching them to rise. And ultimately, this lesson is all about focus. And where your focus goes, growth flows. And so this idea of where do you focus your attention? Like the power that we have to change our thoughts, impacts our behavior, our actions, our habits. Like years and decades of life is lived subconsciously, like going through the motions. And we don't realize that's all because we've trained our brains what to focus on. And we label ourselves with this and that. And all it is what we've chosen to focus on. Lack, debt, anxiety, fear, worst case scenarios, how unloved you are, how rejected you are, that person that hurt you, what you'll never be, what could have been. And so many people, Mia, are living with such deep regret, deep sadness, deep hurt, because their focus is on the deep sadness, the deep regret, and the deep hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that is so liberating when you start to understand and study how the brain works. It's a superpower. It's a super hack when you realize I can just shift my focus. Well, yeah, but Coach Seth, that's like being an ostrich, sticking your head in the sand and pretending that you're okay. No, it's not. No, it's not. The ostrich is okay. It's just afraid. That's why it sticks its head in the sand. That's why we stick our head in the sand. Mm-hmm. We're afraid.
Right.
You pull your head out of the sand, pick your head up and look around. Look around. Is what happened still happening right now? I've been molested. I've had different things. Like, it's not happening right now. I could choose to focus on that.
Sure.
And relive that every day and think I'm dirty, or I could think this. I could think all kinds. If I chose to. It's not sticking my head in the sand. It's recognizing reality. I'm safe and I'm connected. And I have ownership of my life. And I can choose to think about all these other things if I choose. Or I can choose to think about all these other negative things. And wherever my attention goes, where my focus goes, growth flows.
It's so interesting because when you said that, like, we train our brains, even like how you wake up in the morning, like your thought process, that you've done it for years. And I sometimes I wake up and I think, why am I, where did this come, why am I thinking this? Like, holy smokes. But then I think I've thought that same thought for, 20 years. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing how it just wants to attach, come right back.
Yeah. And you can starve those things. I mean, it's so interesting. Like, they're literally like little vines or branches, truly. Again, we used to not be, until we had the ability to scan brains and see what's really going on. We just thought it was all this invisible stuff that wasn't real. We didn't think thoughts were real. Well, they're real. There's literal real estate being taken up in your brain. And when you focus on something, it grows it. It's like feeding it water, and it's like fertilizing it. And that thing grows and gets solidified, and it becomes a superhighway. And guess what? If you starve it, it begins to break down. And that turns into energy that goes in a different direction, into a different path that you create. So you literally get to build your own brain. That's the amazing thing about this. You can build your own brain, your own thought world. That's exciting.
It is exciting, but I'm sure there's some people that are like, no way, what?
Yeah. So this is, I think about my mom. She when she was 19, she was at an all-time low, and had a little baby boy, my brother, and she was at such a low place, and she's pregnant, and she's like, I can't do this anymore, and she decides to take her life. And in a moment, instead of taking her life, she had this thought: what happens? And it was from God. What happens to that little boy down the hallway you just put to bed? She went from depressed, wanting to end her life, and in in one instant, I can't do that. And then a few months later, she had me. And I would not be here if she wouldn't have changed her focus. Her circumstances didn't change. Nothing changed except her mind. She chose to focus instead of on her pain, instead of her state, instead of her circumstance, she chose to focus on my brother. That changed the whole trajectory of her life.
And if you've met Seth's mom, she is one of the most beautiful, joyful, kind. She's just an amazing person. And what I love about her is that her story, some people think, how would you ever get out of that? And look at where she's at.
People have no idea. She volunteers with our Lift program. And people are just shocked when it doesn't happen much because she doesn't wear it on her sleeve. People have no idea like where the origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hold on. So this mom and this son almost weren't here because of the situation they were in,
Mm-hmm.
the financial situation, the stress, the angst, the hurt, the pain, the rejection that she faced. And it's a great example of just a change of focus. You look at our family. My mom makes dinner for our whole family, like grandkids, a bunch of grandkids, great grandkids. Everybody gathers. Whoever's in town gathers every Tuesday for dinner, and it's just this beautiful family of people that are doing great in life. And you think about that whole picture. I can't help. I have so much gratitude. Like every week, I'm just like, this is a miracle. And the miracle was the power of a choice to change her focus. The life that she built versus the life that would have ended, all because she changed her focus. That is just so powerful to me.
It is. It's unbelievable. And she's giving back, which I love.
Yeah, she's giving back. So this is something that I just want to encourage people, when you get a flashlight out and it's dark, wherever you shine that flashlight, that's what you focus on. That's what illuminates. That's what you see. And have you ever, for example, you get a new pair of shoes or you get a new car and you get this cool, like I got a Volkswagen Atlas, and I didn't start I see Volkswagen Atlases everywhere now. Any new car you buy, you don't notice them until you notice them, and then you see them everywhere. Same with the shoes, same with certain things. Like you start. Why? Because you chose to focus on something, and once you've alerted your focus, you see it everywhere. You see more of it, which is really good and really bad. Right?
Right, yeah.
And so when you start programming your brain what you want to focus on and start telling, and it really ties into this 5-star life value of responsibility, taking ownership of what you're going to choose to think about. Are you going to own your thoughts and own what you're focused on? Or are you going to let the subconscious part of your brain choose subconsciously to focus on all those things that maybe are creating negative energy, negative emotions, which leads to negative behavior, negative actions, negative choices?
I find too, once you start thinking this way and you want to change, you also start to see people in a different light. Like the people that are so joyful and you're like, holy smokes. Like we had the best Roto-Rooter guy come out yesterday. Charles, love you. It's so happy. It was hotter than bejeebers out. And he was just so kind. And then you go somewhere else and it's like, you just see people just like, could care less even that you're in, the store or whatever. So that's what I've noticed is you start to change your focus. You see other people's focus and it kind of it helps you stay on that path. Because you want to be that person. You want to be Charles.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to be the person, like we all know that service person or the person in our life that's just Debbie Downer, just constant, like they're a rain cloud.
Yeah.
And you avoid them because you know what's coming. And then they wonder why nobody wants to be with them. We create some really bad energy, and we become like it's like spring. We spray off on us to everybody else. Like they're like, okay, nope, no, I'm not going to deal with that. I don't have the energy to deal with that today.
Mm-hmm.
And we wonder why we feel lonely and rejected because of what we're putting out there. What we're focused on is so negative. And you can turn it around.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Just literally, for some of you listening, you just need to focus on other people. Think about this. I learned this when I was, I don't know, sometime in my teenage years. I think I was probably 18 or 19. I learned how much fun it was when I was around people just to think about them. Like, how can I be an encouragement or a source of life or support to them? It changed how I interact with people. It was so much fun, and it took the pressure off of me, because the opposite is if I focus on myself, I'm going to be worried about that they like me. Are they going to accept me? Are they going to reject me? And it's like, we love being around people like that aren't consumed with themselves. They're just really into connecting with you.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people that we want to be around.
And think of the times when, you're going through it. Who do you want to be around? You want to be around the people that you know that you don't have to think so hard. You know what? They're fun. They're, interesting, and they pick you up.
Yeah. So this conversation right here, here's something I want to challenge parents, grandparents, anybody that works with kids. This content is a part of 5-Star Life video curriculum. This is the stuff we're teaching. These are foundational things that the parents in our programs are like, I get asked this every cohort by multiple parents. Why did we not learn this when we were kids? I wish I could have learned this when I was 13 or 14. It would have saved me so much pain and so much misery and so much sadness. Like I could have been enjoying my life and living it differently. And so I just want to encourage those listening. You don't have to let that be the case for your kids. You can bring our curriculum to your school, to your youth group, to your local detention center. You can bring it into your home if you have kids or grandkids. So there's grandparents listening, and you're going to be seeing your grandkids. And if you have grandkids that are, upper grade school, middle school, I encourage you, if you spend some considerable time, you should download our 5-Star Life app and connect with them. We have different master classes. You can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, and you just type in 5-Star Life, and you'll see our little app. And we have so much content there. These little, for elementary school kids, they're 3.5 to 4 minutes long videos with notes. Make sure you go through the whole process. And then for middle school and high school kids, there's a lesson that's maybe 6-7 minutes long. Okay. The 6-7 thing.
Oh,
is
dear.
Just, I was not trying to do that. Just letting people know I was not trying to do that.
It.
Was not trying to do that. It's life. So anyways, go check it out. And this summer, consider having some impact and connecting with your kids and grandkids like never before. It's going to be a positive thing. And then let us know how that goes. Again, we're going to take a quick commercial break, come back with more right after this. The 5-Star Life Parent app. Each lesson includes a short video and simple discussion prompts designed to help families reconnect and start talking again. Because when parents lead the conversation, kids grow stronger. Download the 5-Star Life Parent app today and start your first family conversation this week, transforming kids' lives by challenging the way they think, act, and lead. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. Coach Seth here, along with my co-host, Coach Mia, and we're going to wrap this segment up. Just, this content, again, I talked about our 5-Star Life app. We were talking between on the break, and you were saying that you talk to so many people, as do I, that you're like, man, if they could just go through these lessons, it would be such a helpful resource. And then you made a comment that, but people just won't. And it's interesting. It's human nature. For some reason, we won't go to the doctor until we absolutely have to. We won't change what we put in our mouths until there's something wrong. And that's how it worked for me. I was 22 years old, maybe 23 years old, when I was having these sinus headaches, and finally went to get checked out, and the doctor's like, he did a scan. He's like, I don't even know how you're standing here. You have 100% blockage in both sinus passages. Like, it's all black. There's nothing there but blackness and infection and fungus. So we took some out, but we're going to, we did a biopsy. We're going to take it out and send it to a lab to make sure it's not cancer. I was like, oh. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, this is serious. Like, I gotta get this right. And long story short, there's tumors growing up there. It wasn't until then, I'm like, you hear the C word, you hear these other things. You're like, I'm too young. I wasn't thinking about those things at all.
Sure.
Oh, that woke me up, and I'm like, it's time for me to change my diet. And I'm actually so glad that happened, because I would have been eating horribly still, and it'd cause issues. So why is it that we wait until something goes wrong?
I don't even know, to tell you the truth. I like to say it's just laziness, or I don't know.
Well,
I think of like that report you were supposed to do. Like, I would wait to the last, the night before to write the report. So maybe it's just me. I don't know.
You and me be working on that together.
Yes.
The deadlines matter.
Yes.
Everybody on our team knows, like, if you don't give Seth a deadline, it ain't going to happen. Like, my projects, I drive those things, but if it's somebody else's that need, like, if you don't give me a deadline, it just won't happen until you tell me when you need it, because there's other things that are more important.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's our issue. And what that comes back to is exactly what this lesson is. Where our attention goes, where our focus goes, growth flows. And because we don't put attention on things that really matter at the foundational level, and because we're stuck in a feedback loop and a cycle that we're comfortable with, we can manage, exerting more energy, we just don't have the space, the time, the energy to do one more thing. So we tell ourselves, because that's what we tell ourselves, because that's what we're focused on. We have a scarcity mentality saying, I can't do one more thing. I can't change this right now. I'll get to it tomorrow. So we keep focusing on the things we're focused on.
Mm-hmm.
And until we change our focus to this far, no more, I'm drawing a line in the sand, I am going to do this. I'm going to start journaling. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start changing that negative. Like, there's some people right now listening. You tell yourself, you've told yourself for 20, 30 years that you're not a people person. And it's true, because that's what you focused on. You can learn all the skills and how to be a people person, and you can enjoy it. And I know there's different studies that say, well, I'm an introvert. Yeah, there's lots of introverts that have great people skills and love to connect with people. And guess what? There are lots of people that tell themselves, I just can't control what I put in my mouth. I'm a sugar addict, or I'm a this addict. And we joke and we laugh and we make fun of ourselves for it, and we admit it, and we put it all on the table, but it's still a problem. And I just want to encourage you to change your focus, because we can change any area of our life if we just change our focus.
I'm shaking my head. I know.
When I was about 10 years old, my parents sat me down, and I told this story about my mom. When I was about 10, she sat me down, and her and my adoptive father, well, I don't call him adoptive father, but he's my dad, but they sat me down and told me I was adopted. And my mom got me this bookmark that had my name, said Seth, chosen by God.
Mm.
And I every time I read, I would see that Seth, chosen by God. Every book I finished, I transferred to the next book, Seth, hundreds of times, maybe thousands of times I read that. And it just went, what happened was, there's so many kids I talk to in 5-star that are adoptive and they have issues, because they choose not to focus on what they're adopted into, but they choose to focus on what was left behind, who rejected them, who left them behind. And, I think it's so powerful in this situation. My whole life, I didn't grow up thinking about what I didn't have. I chose to focus on being chosen. And again, where your focus goes, growth flows. Because of that, instead of feeling like I'm less than, or I missed out, or I was rejected, which I had to battle some of those things. There was a
Sure.
moment through adolescent where you start to look at, well, how come I'm a different skin color, and how come this? Now, so I had to go through it a second time in a different way. But I had the foundation that I'm chosen, and that is such a transformational place to live from, all because of where I put my focus. And I'm telling people right now, like, if you will open yourself up to those areas that maybe you don't even realize subconsciously is hindering the level of peace you have, or the level of joy, or the size of your vision, what you think is possible. Maybe you've closed doors in your life and shut down opportunities, and you've stopped hoping, stopped believing because of some of the stories you've told yourself. It's all about focus.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Do you hear stories of other people's focus too, which helped me in my life? Like we had a pastor friend that had a cruddy car, and he was griping. It was just like, man, how come I can't have a nice car? And he felt like God told him, like, clean up what you have, take care of what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so he changed his focus and took care of this old car. And you know what? He eventually got a new car, but that was his. So he's like, he never treated cars, like he always cared for his cars. And then I think of your mom giving you the bookmark. I mean, as a parent, as a grandparent, as a teacher, as a coach, whoever, you know what? You can help people change their focus too. If you see something amazing in somebody, to just plant that seed. I mean, we've all had those coaches. You've had friends, that just like say something. You're like, oh, like somebody noticed. Like, I have that quality.
Yeah, and the reality is, if we are living on that polyvagal ladder in this fight or flight space, as opposed to the safe and connected, when you're in the safe and connected space and you interact with a person at the grocery store or at the mall or a kid in your life, you get to see the gold in them when you're up here. When you're in this fight or flight, you can't see it. You got too much noise. You can't even see the gold that's in front of you. And so it's a missed opportunity. And so when you get up here, that's where you give them one word or one sentence, or, man, you got a beautiful smile. Like, man, just smile everywhere you go.
Yeah.
That can change somebody's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
A bookmark can change somebody's life. Like, I'm thinking of this person. A little gift can change somebody's life. And that's where connection grows. When you're safe and connected, you build those safe, connected relationships, which that means you help other people thrive and heal and know that you are a person that believes in them. And man, just think about that. How powerful is it when you have people, like, the more people you have in your corner, the more chances you have to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So really powerful stuff. I want to pause there for a moment, and I want to encourage people just to think about this idea of focus. And if you can, it's almost like we're sitting in one of our lift sessions or 5-star sessions, and I want you to take a moment just to reflect, because as I've been sharing, you've had multiple different areas of focus come to mind. But if you just let this show go in one ear and out the other and just move on, and you don't put some emphasis on one area of focus that you want to bring change to, this will not be very impactful. You will forget about this. According to research, within an hour, you will forget 90% of what you just heard. But if you focus on one thing and one area, on one thought that's no longer serving you, and you flag your brain, you tell your brain, I want you to flag, just like ChatGPT. Like you can tell it, I want you to flag this. Every time I do this, I want you to flag it. And it will flag it for you. It will remind you of things. And it will work for you, right? So if you tell your brain, our brains are way smarter than chat and AI. If you tell your brain, hey, I no longer want to focus on this. Instead, I want to focus not on being rejected by my biological father. I want to focus on being adopted, on being received, on being loved, on being cared for. And so every time the rejection thought comes, I'm changing my focus to acceptance, to loved, to chosen by God. And if you will, every time that thought comes and your brain flags it, if you will be intentional to shift your focus, within a short amount of time, you'll create a new neural pathway, which will create new emotions, and it will start to shift that area of your life forever. You can do that one thought at a time. And then you can teach your kids and your grandkids and your coworkers, your employees, and the people that come, the service people that come in your home, the same thing. Man, this is powerful stuff. All right. Last thing I want to share is this. If this show has been helpful, I want you to consider getting involved in some way. That could be helping introduce 5-star to your local school, or if you know a judge or someone in probation or juvenile justice, making connections, or if you know people that are generous, that want to be involved, that are looking for things to be supportive of, make an introduction. Reach out to us. Go to our contact button on our website, 5starlife.org, and reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Or if you want to volunteer, you want to get involved, you want to be part of the transformation because you've been listening to this show and you're like, I got to get involved. I want to highlight one of our volunteers, Richard. He heard me say this very thing probably 6 years ago.
Wow.
And his daughter listens and he listens and she challenged him. It's like, you should consider getting involved. And sure enough, he has a full-time job, but he said, I have Fridays off. I can give 5-star my Fridays. So I think it's been about 6 years, Richard has given every single Friday of his life to impact kids. He will do anything. He started with grounds, helps with maintenance a little bit. He does whatever is needed. And then he started getting involved. He's like, hey, can I work with kids a little bit? And so he went through training and he's now serving kids. He is having so much impact and he's having so much fun.
Yeah, and he's another person. He has just an amazing spirit and outlook on life. He's fantastic.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week.